Yo, 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 yo. What's up, what's up, what's up? Give up the rock. And hello again, my fellow revolutionaries. If you are still hanging around, if you are still here and you survived the crisis that we've just had as part of the mystery movement, we just got silenced. We've been cancelled. I've been censored. Whatever C word you want to use on this one, I'll let you choose. And yeah, we're back. 4AS, you've got it working again. Welcome back, Mystery. Yes, I believe I have got it working again. I don't know what happened, but it does look like my OBS just shut itself. So the OBS is the platform that I use, the application that I use to stream. It's great, free software. I got to admit, and heaps of people use it. Professionals use it. It's not just for the, I guess, uh, the up and coming streamers out there. It's like widely used. I can't tell you what happened. Look, old mate here decided to turn up. Yeah, I've decided to turn up, and here I am. So we're just gonna test. Like, this is just gonna be a testing thing for me to see if there is actually another problem going on that I can't isolate, and I can't seem to fix what's going on with OBS. So you're all guinea pigs today. So welcome to the afternoon session. You are guinea pigs for me. Um, and yeah, let's pick up where we left off. And so we were just speaking about the whole Jimmy Kimmel incident and how I believe that this was more akin to a cancel culture event as opposed to a censorship event. And I was giving my thoughts as to basically why I think it's actually hilarious because it's just completely immersed in hypocrisy. And the hypocrisy is of the right, who have for a long time now complained about the cancel culture of the left and political correctness and all that sort of stuff. And they're carrying out the exact same thing, but it's also kind of got an element of political interference running there because of Trump's influence. So good timing. I just had my session. Oh, well, fuck it. Put your feet up and we're going to have a little chat. So, there was some interesting commentary that was coming in, I think, in the chat about that topic. So Voltaire has written a bit in the stream chat saying Jimmy was correct though. They always rush to blame it on radical left person before the evidence is confirmed, saying it should happen with a Trump shooter. Look at how that turned out. Once the shooter doesn't fit the narrative, they just forget and move on. Or in Mrs. Kirk's case, I forgive him. Yeah, that was interesting. Trump has proven that he is petty enough to stop the business of any company related to those who criticize him. Him bragging about getting more money out of the company if he sues them again, lol. Yes, he did brag about that actually. It's like once they've reinstated him, they resurrected Jimmy Kimmel. The first thing that Trump did was just like, well, I'm going to sue ABC again because he's just recently won some money from a settlement deal with ABC on a separate like kind of defamation lawsuit. He bullies people using his capital. And when the other side gives up out of fear for political action, their companies, Trump uses them not towing as a way to say that he was right. Yes. And I think that's actually an important distinction to make about his tactics, actually, is that he's using pressure from many forms. He uses pressure as president, he uses pressure through his army of lawyers. It's pressure. And again, him being reinstated, Jimmy Kimmel, that is, just shows that, yes, Trump tries to silence dissent, tries to silence his opponents, whatever they may be, and through whatever form, through the political avenues, through the legal avenues. But he doesn't always get it done, and in this case, he has been kind of he's been reinstated despite the pressure that Trump has put in. Every time he gets away with his abuse of political office, it emboldens him to try and get away with it even more. Things are going to escalate until someone stops this descent into a full dictatorship. And I alluded to that as well. I think censorship is definitely coming, and like these are the steps towards it. It's a variation. It is a form of censorship. What he's doing, he's trying to get there, but obviously there are institutions, there are organizations, there is a sentiment out there that is stopping him from going full dictator at this point in time. But don't get me wrong, we're working on it. Dilemmas. Whoa, what happened to the stream? Love, Jeff. Mr. E, you will be remembered as a martyr. The time to fight back is now, internet friends. Ah, it's so good. I love that. Um, yeah, so what happened? Shitty Mac being shitty? Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was like I've run all the updates that I can. I've tried to, isolate the issue. I think it was OBS. But yeah, it may just be the Mac being shitty. Dilemma is weird. How Americans know all about rights, but neither side seems to understand double standards. Yeah, that's my big issue in this. My gripe in this is I really feel like this is just an extension of the culture wars, and we should kind of be focusing in on that. What, conservatives not being consistent? Color me shocked. Jag, repurposing my comment from before you got cut off. I still disagree and maintain it was a form of censorship, pressure from the FCC, and Trump has doubled down on more pressure to come. He was only allowed to calm back if he toned it down and made his bullshit heartfelt monologue. Yeah, that's the terms that he was given, I'm sure, by the organization. Again, like akin to what happens in cancel culture cases. If anything, this was public outcry against censorship, and public response doesn't retroactively change the nature of the government suppression action that led him to initially being taken off air. No, but what they were writing off initially, and this is my opinion, that's all, is that they were writing off cancel culture attitudes. The right wing or Charlie Kirk supporters or people that were generally aligned with, memorializing Charlie Kirk and his martyrdom were like, this is outrageous. No one should be allowed to speak against the death of Charlie Kirk. People should be cancelled for speaking badly about Charlie Kirk. That's an element of cancel culture, because they're trying to cancel people that speak badly about an issue and that was the cancel culture that allowed Trump to ride on the back of making a moral decision, and he's going to use his power to pressure the FCC. If it wasn't for those people that were calling for him to be taken down, or for anyone that spoke badly about Charlie Kirk, if it wasn't for those people being so vocal, then he wouldn't have had a leg to stand on using his power over the FCC. And so I'm just saying it's hypocritical that the Republicans or right-wing personalities were using their censorship, was using their emotions to cancel someone, or calling for someone to get cancelled anyway. And I think it's more of a sign of the culture wars, really. Don't get me wrong, what Trump's been doing, definitely using his influence for the wrong reasons. It's corrupt behavior. It is corrupt behavior. It definitely is. Like using your power to suit your own agenda. That's corruption, really. And influencing people and turning the screws, putting your finger on the scale, your thumb on the scale, sorry, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely corrupt activity, and a public official, a head of state, shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff. But I would like to call out the hypocrisy here. I think it's great to call it out when you see it, as opposed to getting just caught up in kind of the scare that this is only a form of censorship, because Trump's been doing this already. This is kind of his playbook as he moves towards the authoritarianism that he's trying to, the illiberal democracy that he's trying to set up in the in the model of, someone like Viktor Orban. And Viktor Orban has literally shut down the media. He takes away people's licenses when they don't play ball with the Viktor Orban agenda. He takes away their licenses. And Trump's going to get there. He's working on it. He's working on it. Ah, says Jerry Poppins, you're back and gayer than ever, I might add. Thank you. Thank you. I'm feeling rather gay today, especially because I keep reading your comments. And if I read those things, I am gay. You down with FCC? Yeah, you know me. Amen, brother. Yeah. So anyway, just my 2 cents. And I think I've caught up with the discussion now from what was happening before, it would seem. But yeah, look, again, someone putting pressure using their political post on people to try and silence their dissent. It's a form of censorship, 100%. It is definitely, and like it'll get more overt. It's the indirect stuff that we're dealing with at the moment, and I hope it stays that way. I hope it never moves beyond the indirect forms of censorship, because once the censorship is real, like he's not going to even pretend anymore to go through people. He's just going to do it. He's going to send those executive orders out, those edicts from on high. And, no one's going to be safe. No one will be safe from that sort of stuff. And it's definitely shaping up in that way. Now, right now, we're going to shift gears because, we're incredibly behind schedule. But I think I'm going to try and get to at least one of the other things that I wanted to talk about. And this is actually something we spoke about the other day. I think it was you, Jack, who brought up this idea of the Bagram Air Base. So if you're across this issue or not, Trump came out with this really, it seemed like out of the blue message, I think last week, that he's interested. All of a sudden he's interested, or maybe it wasn't even last week, maybe it was just early this week, like all of a sudden he's really interested in Afghanistan. Like when he, throughout his campaign, and like when he was shitting on Biden all the time, which he does all the time, actually, he continues to shit on Biden, but like part of his big thing was like, we got out of, when we should have got out of Afghanistan ages ago, and the way that Biden did it was an absolute shit show. It could have been handled so much better, but I'm so glad we're out of Afghanistan. We don't need to be fighting anyone else's wars. We need to make America great again, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, he just goes, bang, we need the Bagram Air Base back. Now, that's in Afghanistan, and it's in a very strategic position. Trump has said in that meeting that, in that press conference, this might surprise you, but we want to kind of get it back, and we're gonna make sure that happens. We're gonna get Bagram back, and it's important because it's an hour away from where China makes or tests their nuclear missiles, and so like this has caught people kind of by surprise, like massively caught people by surprise, and let's see, why can't I see that? Love Jeff, I can't see your commentary coming in. It's interesting. But welcome back. Yes, we are on. And it's so hot right now. Now, he's going to make it 8 wars, quick in and quick out Afghanistan, 6 months max. And then he'll be able to use that as part of his bid for his Nobel Peace Prize. But like, people have kind of been like, well, what's going on there? Why has he made this announcement? It seems really random. Why does he want back in Afghanistan? Now, what has happened recently is, if you remember, Israel out of the blue bombed Qatar, like just attacked Qatar like last week, just like that. No real announcement. There's a lot of speculation about like, were they working with the US? Weren't they working with the US? Etc., etc. But the long and the short of it is, Israel is just fucking out of control. Like, it really is just completely rogue now. And like there was at least the sense that America had some sway over what I guess the Israelis were doing. Like, they were somewhat beholden to what the President of the United States thought. But Netanyahu's gone completely off the rails, and he's just doing whatever he feels like is in Israel's security interests. And so Qatar is kind of this tiny little country that pokes off in like kind of a peninsular fashion in the Persian Gulf. Um, and they kind of is attached to Saudi Arabia, but like Qatar's not really kind of friends with the other nice Arab countries, if you know what I mean. The nice Western leaning Arab countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE and stuff like that. It's a little bit rogue, but because it's a little bit rogue, it actually is used importantly by kind of the Middle East to sort out some of the troubled players in the Middle East, like, your terrorist organizations, so your Hamas, your Iran's. Qatar is actually kind of used as this conduit, this middleman to help broker deals and negotiations and like, peace talks and stuff like that between, maybe like America, the West, Israel, and, Arab states or terrorist organizations or political organizations within the Arab states. And lo and behold, they had Hamas, the high-ranking Hamas politicians in Qatar because they were trying to work with Egypt to broker some ceasefire negotiation between Israel and Hamas. And lo and behold, Israel just bombed where all the Hamas people were staying in Qatar. And so, as a result of that, they've like with complete impunity, they have just bombed Qatar, and like it's reportedly not even the Americans knew about it, and like Qatar holds a huge American military base, and so like everyone was like, "What the hell? How could you do that? Like, what are you gonna do about this, America? Right? Like they're bombing." Doha, they're bombing the capital, and like the US military base is right there. This is not just them, bombing Iran or Yemen or something like that. America is right there and has significant interests, and they're allied, like they have security relations with Qatar, and Israel just doing whatever they want, popping Hamas agents wherever they feel like it, assassinating people wherever they feel like it, and bombing someone's sovereign territory. This is a huge issue in the Middle East because like people like Saudi Arabia now and the United Arab Emirates, they're kind of like, oh, fuck. I thought the US had our back. And, if Israel did something like Israel would never do something like this because America's there. But everyone's really starting to question us. It's like, I don't think America has any power in this relationship anymore. I don't think power actually, like America actually has the testicular fortitude anymore to one, reign in Israel, and then two, protect us. And so here we are. The Arab nations are getting together and they're just like, well, what are we going to do? We're going to have to protect ourselves against Israel, it would seem. They're not saying that directly, but they're all meeting to figure out what to do. And so like there's been meetings recently in Qatar, all the the Muslim world, let's say the Muslim Arab world has come together, the nations, and they've spoken directly about security issues and like how they're going to kind of look after their own interests in the face of potential onslaught by Israel, who's indiscriminately now attacking like nice Arab nations, not like like the backwater ones, but like the nice ones that have all the oil and all the resources and the money, and like they've got some serious tech there too. The Qataris, just like the Saudi Arabians, they've got some good missile defense systems. Useless. Israel went straight through their missile defense systems, which they bought off the Americans, by the way, which I'm sure they're not too happy about either. But yeah, Israel straight through the systems, which is questionable, right? But whatever, that's a side comment. But straight through their missile protection systems and have taken out, and they didn't even hit their actual targets. They took out like lower level Hamas politicians and agents, not the actual high level ones they were looking for. So failed mission, but still, complete impunity. Strikes are made on the soil. Someone said I couldn't beat the 12-day war, but I did. 3-day war. Sleepy Joe Biden couldn't do that. then he can claim a peace prize by ing everyone up. Yeah. And we are leading up to an Arab NATO. Yes, Forrest, your spidey sensors are tingling, and I'm leading up to Arab NATO. So, look, I'm not a fan of bombing stuff, but any place that spells its name with a Q and no U is sketchy. Yeah, well, they just obviously don't follow English norms, do they? English language norms, the bastards. Some allege that Netanyahu is just prolonging conflict so he doesn't have to face charges and potentially go to prison. Well, yeah, I agree with that general theory. Like he generally, and like he's got a state of warfare, so he can rule in a state of war, like most, I guess, dictatorial powers or people that try to, you know, pull the rug over their population's eyes and say, like, give me extreme powers and I will take measures to protect you because we're at war. And so he's prolonging things. He's definitely what has happened by striking Qatar, though. He's definitely ruled out, without saying it, but it's pretty fucking obvious now, without saying it, he's ruled out there's no ceasefire. It's not coming. That's what Qatar was working on. Qatar was working with Egypt to bring Hamas people into the fold so they could actually negotiate a ceasefire. So, like, talk about, like, prolonging stuff. Everyone's like, hey, let's have a ceasefire at least. And Netanyahu has directly killed off the last chance. That was what Qatari was good for, apart from supplying the world with gas and, like, supporting soccer teams and shit like that. I guess they were important for being the only people that, like, Iran or Hamas or Hezbollah would trust in negotiation, and they could put pressure on them to get results in terms of ceasefires or hostage negotiations. So it really shows, like, Netanyahu doesn't give a flying fuck about his hostages, because they could have negotiated getting them back through the Qataris. But it's probably not going to happen now. And yes, he wants that war to keep going because it justifies him being in power, and he can't be investigated internally or even externally, while he seems to be, I guess, at war, kind of thing, I guess. So anyway, let's have a look at this piece. I think this is incredibly interesting stuff, and you should go and check out this channel. It's called Caspian Report. I found it by mistake. It's just one of those golden algorithmic moments where you're just like, oh wow, this might be like a channel that's just worth your time of day, kind of thing. And so, why Saudi Arabia signed a defense pact with Pakistan. And so Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have come together as a result, it would seem, of the recent incidents in Qatar. And this is huge for other geopolitical reasons, but, like, let me just, plant this seed in your head while you listen to this. But, it's Pakistan, out of everyone, it's Pakistan who's got the fucking nukes. They've got the nukes, baby. And, like, if you really want to protect yourself, you gotta have those big bad nuclear warheads, if you know what I mean. Well, the FCC won't let me be. They tried to shut him down on Twitch TV, but it'd be so empty without Mr. E. There it is. I'm getting my own fucking raps now. Thank you very much. And I am back. We are back. They tried to shut it down. It was just like the coincidence, right? The timing was incredible. I'm like ranting about cancel culture and censorship, and then fucking bang, like the stream just dies. Oh man, with the conspiracy theories that come out when my tech has issues, it always happens at a really funny time. All right, I'm here, says Avalava. I had to break from watching vibe coding to begin doing some vibe coding while watching Mystery. Caspian Report is okay. Still not sure if they're biased, which is usually a good sign, or if there's external funding. I'm sure there's probably external funding. I wonder what their bias actually is. But, like, they seem to talk, they're talking about an issue that I don't find the mainstream media or the Western media actually talking about. So, like, I think it's an interesting source, because they touch topics that, like, the West kind of stays away from. Oh, wait, at least in regards to this, anyway. As System of a Down would say, boom, boom, boom. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. There it is. All right, I'll shut up and let these guys do the talking.
Entered into a mutual defense pact. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have entered into a mutual defense pact. The agreement declares that aggression against one is aggression against the other. When asked if this places Saudi Arabia under Pakistan's nuclear umbrella, a senior Saudi official avoided specifics, saying only that the pact covers all defensive and military means deemed necessary. Pakistani forces could now, in theory, deploy to Saudi Arabia with missile systems and a joint air defense network tied to satellites and interceptors. All of this would come on top of the nuclear umbrella that, by strategic ambiguity, now extends over the kingdom. The details, however, remain unclear, as the pact is not yet public. What is clear is that the talks had been underway for at least 2 years, and the pact comes amid growing anxiety over America's reluctance to restrain Israel, with the Qatar attack serving as the breaking point. Saudi Arabia was in many ways the poster child of a non-NATO ally. Its loss of trust in US security guarantees signals a deeper strategic shift, with profound implications for China, India, and Iran. Riyadh now seeks to move on. The defense pact with Pakistan is therefore a bid for strategic autonomy, a once-in-a-generation realignment that marks the onset of a new geopolitical reality. Alliances, after all, are not built on promises, speeches, or shared values, but on the arithmetic of hard power. Interestingly, the defense pact could be just one move in a much larger game. Shortly after its signing, Trump raised the issue of Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, located just 120 kilometers from Pakistan's border. Given that the Saudi-Pakistani pact de facto extends a nuclear umbrella, Washington may now be exploring ways to intercept Pakistani missiles headed west. Bagram is geographically well placed for such a task. The pattern that is taking shape is difficult to ignore, and this is why today's sponsor, Ground News, is so useful. While thousands of sources outlets cover the, for example, in framing, but left the dots, go to ground.news/Caspian or scan the QR code to try it out. Subscribing through this link, my channel. Thank you, Ground News. The link is below. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have maintained close military ties for decades. When Islamabad carried out nuclear tests in 1998, its economy was on the brink. Foreign reserves had fallen to just $400 million against a debt of $32 billion.
So I think that's an important point just before that ad played halfway through that. Yes, the same as SAE that fought with Yemen, committing a not very well-known genocide there, and also forced their people to starve. Yes, interesting. Yeah, so that's where I was talking about before. Yeah, there's the good Arab nations, the nice Western aligned ones, and then there's the rest of them, the scummy ones that have no political say at all. You got to be careful with some of these global politics channels. I know the infographics show is partly funded by Israel companies. There's the funding. Ground News is not a good funding source. There's the funding. Ground News is not a good funding source. Yeah, fair enough. Who's funding Ground News then? But yeah, like this is the only channel that I've come across that is spouting this narrative about the importance of Bagram Air Base now to Trump. Like Trump himself has said it's about, containment of China. But like I was going to say, I think it's important to note the location of Bagram in relation to Pakistan as well. Like Pakistan, it has the nukes. And if you can put something in place close enough to where the nukes potentially are going to be launched, then you can launch, strikes against them, and bring them down before they cause any real harm or get too close to their target. I think Israel would definitely be interested in that type of stuff. I think, yeah, Israel would definitely be interested in someone else helping to protect their interests in the region.
US sanctions pushed Pakistan toward default until Saudi money stepped in. To ease the pressure, Riyadh allowed Islamabad to buy oil on deferred payments under a 3-year plan. When the term ended, the Saudis quietly forgave much of the debt, turning the arrangement into an undeclared bailout. Generous, but certainly not an easy decision. At the time, oil prices had plummeted to around $10 a barrel. So, to aid Pakistan, Saudi Arabia was left with a massive budget deficit and was forced to take loans to cover its own expenses. That bailout, in the time of need, became the bedrock of Saudi-Pakistani relations. Prince Turki bin Faisal later captured the depth of the bond, calling it one of the closest relationships in the world between any two countries. Seen in this light, the defense pact between the two is not a sudden, alarmist move. It simply codifies decades of cooperation. The real turning point, however, is more recent. Saudi and Pakistani officials began talks on the military pact only a few years ago, but the Gaza war accelerated the process. For decades, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE have been close US partners, hosting numerous American bases and relying on Washington to underwrite their security. But in the past 2 years, they have watched uneasily as the US stood by while Israel struck targets in Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, Iran, and now even Qatar. Even though the Arab monarchies have tense, often hostile relations with Tehran, Israel's unchecked strikes have set off alarm bells. The attack on Doha, most of all, rattled the region. It reshaped how the Arab monarchies viewed their own security and America's guarantee of it. For additional context, check out our recent video on the Qatar attack, which compartmentalizes the background into clear parts for easier understanding. Suffice it to say, none of the Arab monarchies expected Israel to strike a major non-NATO ally, especially one mediating between Hamas and Israel. The Saudis now see US security guarantees differently. It doesn't carry the same weight as before. America's inertia, combined with Israel's unrestrained operations, has heightened Saudi anxieties. The defense pact with Pakistan is the result of that. Technically, the pact is not a full treaty, but for Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, the distinction may not matter. More importantly, the bilateral defense pact has the potential to grow into something bigger. The Gulf Arab states have long seen Pakistan's military as a credible, nuclear-capable deterrent, and its conduct in the May 2025 skirmish with India only cemented that belief. More nations could now either join the existing defense pact or pursue separate bilateral defense pacts of their own.
So wouldn't it be interesting, like, if this was the case, though, that, like, Israel's actions are what bring all of these Arab nations together, just because of how belligerent they are and, like, how unstable they really are in terms of, like, diplomacy. Again, like, not even America can really control what Israel is doing at the moment. And with the way that Bibi goes over and, like, talks to Trump at the moment, I think he's up to what, 4 or 5 trips over to the White House this time around, which is apparently, you know, it's unprecedented. So he's obviously got stuff to talk to Trump about, and Trump's entertaining him. You know, we talked about, or we saw the speculation on, what was it, the former French president before Macron and Obama talking about, on a hot mic situation, how much they hated having to deal with Netanyahu because he's just constantly whinging and, like, you know, stirring the pot with being problematic. And so, like, his existence and his kind of, I guess, out of control behavior, it could be the thing that pushes all of these people together and forming some type of proper security arrangement where they're protected by somebody who does have, in the region, independent nuclear weapons. So they wouldn't be relying on the Americans anymore. They wouldn't be relying on some, Western power. Even like, imagine if that drove Pakistan and Iran together. Everyone's been so scared about Iran having nuclear weapons. Well, this could be the thing that bridges the gap there, and then Iran might develop its own nuclear warheads. And we're looking at a very, very scary situation. Don't get me wrong; it's scary enough that America, Russia, and China have 15,000 kind of warheads between the three of them. Like you need that many. But you could argue that they're more stable. Like they've had it for a while now, and it's only Americans that have used warheads or dropped nukes on other people. Hey, and they were just testing it out. Everyone forgives the Americans for that, but they've had them for a while, and they're stockpiling them as a deterrence for threats. But Israel's got them. And they're pretty edgy at the moment, the old Israelis. And if people start entering into security relations with Pakistan, and they have one of those, Article 5 style agreements in there that an attack on one is an attack on all, things will go down pretty quickly in the old Middle East over there. And could you imagine if it's that? It's because of Israeli aggression that the world is plunged into some type of nuclear Armageddon? Seriously, for that purpose? Come on, because they can't help themselves, and the whole world is really clamping down on Israel at the moment, really trying to show them that they're out of control, and they're using very slow and annoying bourgeois methods to try and send the message gently to Israel that nobody agrees with what they're doing. But it might not be enough. This might be it. This might have been the point at which we can all turn back when we're living in caves in nuclear winter in Australia somewhere and be like, fucking, they should have done something before, the Arabs united and there was a nuclear fallout because of them all shooting weapons at each other. It's not just a deterrent. They're actually going to use this stuff. Quick question. Does anyone know anything about the Saudi military? I've never really come across much on their military. I don't think they've got much of one, to be honest. I don't think it's not their thing. They got a lot of money, I think. And so they rely on other people for their security interests, and they buy some good tech. Dilemmas. I had a latent nuclear deterrent SP. They didn't get bombed. Now that they got bombed anyway, they will make a nuke. Indoctrination. I just don't like that they treat factual evidence based on reporting with the same gravity as nonsense truth reporting. They say this is what the left says. Oh, you're talking about ground news. Okay, yeah, right. But ground news is, I don't think the ground news is a sponsor in this. I don't know if they've actually funded this organization, if you're speaking about ground news. And this is what the right is saying. And even when they don't trustworthy ratings, they rate people as Alex Jones as having the same lines as someone like Hassan Parker. It's destructive to the media environment. Yeah, well, again, ground news. I think they're a sponsor on this video. I don't think they're actually funding this organization. I'll get my research assistant to check that one out. UAE and Jordan are also US client states, and now they have a new puppet, Jelani in Syria. Saudi Arabia has billions invested in the US. I don't see them building a strong alliance. Who? You don't see Saudi Arabia and Pakistan? Or everyone in the region? Now let's ask my research assistant on that one. Let's have a look-sees. I'm just looking at content from a channel called Caspian Report on YouTube. I'm just looking at content from a YouTube channel called Caspian Report. Do you know who funds this YouTube channel, or if they disclose? Any funding sources? One source, Mesh News, describes Caspian Report as funded by Patreon and viewer donations. Wikitubia, videos are sponsored by various cryptocurrencies. Caspian Reports has received funding from government. Whether it has. Interesting. Yes, please. Take your time and think. The sponsor on the videos are through one advertising. The sponsor on the videos are through one advertising organization. Like, be careful with anything advertising. BetterHelp. That's Israeli money. Yeah, but I don't know if the sponsor exactly controls what the content creator talks about. It's not always conclusive. They want to align with topics that suit what they think are their interests, but they want to just pull people across to their platform for news, I'm assuming. They must think that this type of audience are the type of people that would use ground news, I guess. These Middle Eastern countries building an alliance that ultimately goes against the US. Oh, right. Yeah, but like they must be nervous. If I was in Qatar and I was just like, hey, we got a fucking US military base here, no one's touching us, and then Israel just bombs us, you got to be questioning, like, fuck, maybe the Americans are good for nothing. Like, you'd have to question that at least. You're like, what's the point of having the Americans set up their military bases here? Don't say please and thank you to the clankers. You've read Chomsky, right? I've read Chomsky, yes. I don't know if he talks about saying please and thank you to the clankers, unless you're talking about something else unrelated. I definitely say thank you to the clankers. Actually, I have a very different opinion on that, and I've actually said that multiple times. One of the books I've read on AI talks about AI safety, and like the idea that if we are developing some type of, AGI or super intelligence or something mythological like that, then it's actually learning from humans in terms of understanding its own ethical code. And so, like, if it can learn good behaviors on humans, like we would teach a child, then like it's beholden to us to teach it good decorum. How advertising impacts media. Yeah, but the social media world is very different to, like, you're referencing manufacturing consent. And while it's relevant, and I speak about manufacturing consent all the time, what you're talking about is how people advertise on social media. Now, what you're speaking about is more akin in terms of manufacturing consent. I'm assuming you're talking about is like the ads you see that YouTube plays on people's videos. That's manufacturing consent. This is like a sponsored video placed inside somebody's content. As a content creator, I spend a lot of time listening to people speak about this type of stuff. This is my wheelhouse. And like a lot of people, because they have an audience that they've built up a relationship with. They're not going to just choose any advertiser in there that offends their audience. They want to make conscious decisions about, like, choosing the right advertiser, and the advertiser has to do stuff in a way that suits their interests as a content creator. It's not the stuff that just gets thrown in between, like, segments on videos or at the start of videos and all that sort of stuff. That's completely chosen by YouTube's algorithms. These people will usually content creators want to pick ads that, like, don't offend their audiences. And so, like, I don't know if someone picking to run an ad in the middle of their content, like the ones that you can't skip, it's actually in the content. I don't know if that immediately means that they're taking money from that organization to make content. They taking money because that person wants to advertise with them because they like their audience. They want to get access to their audience and their people. So I don't know if that means that they're being influenced by ground news. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if they're being influenced by them specifically, but they're taking their money. But I don't know if that means they're being influenced by them. Why'd this pop up on your algorithm again? Unless they are astroturfed. It's just as impactful with YouTube, even more so with mid reads, man. This stream brought to you by the Revolutionary Think Tank. Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with that exactly. I think it's the ads that are running that YouTube chooses. That's part of the manufacturing consent machine, because it's YouTube who decides what's good on their community guidelines and what type of content creators can make, because that suits their advertisers. They are the vehicle. But this content creator is choosing who they allow to advertise in their actual, like, it's actually part of their content. I have talked to Jordan about this multiple times. So, and again, I spent a lot of time looking at multiple content creators. So this is just really, it sounds like you don't like ground news, which is fair enough. But I don't think that means directly that ground influences this person's content. What I'm saying is ground wants access to this person's audience and the clout that this person has developed with 1.7 million subscribers. They want access to his clout as well. Caspian Reports clout. If Caspian Reports says, hey, go check out ground news, that's what they're buying. They're buying this person's reputation, as opposed to this person having to be completely beholden to whatever ground news wants. I think we're talking about different things here, and like how manufacturing consent works. Mute? What does that mean? Anyway, let's see what the research assistant says. Thought for 1 minute and 9 seconds. Dun dun. What I've found, they explicitly asked for support via Patreon, individual videos, Q&A, support, Caspian Report, videos sometimes contain sponsor and affiliate links in descriptions. Ground news, so there you go, indicates paid affiliate sponsorship income is used at least occasionally. They have an Amazon shop, merch. Third-party write-ups and profiles summarize the same picture. Patreon, viewer funded, independent. That reinforces that YouTube ad revenue is likely part of their income, commonly associated with Sivan Neftchi. And nothing I've found shows these are named institutionally backed or attached to the brand. I can't find. There might be private grants, sponsorships, or shadow donors. Yeah, potentially. I don't know. It's not conclusive. Oh, I've been muted? Really? Can you hear me now? Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me now? Can someone respond in the chat just to let me know if you can hear me? Hasn't been muted for me. No, you're fine. Okay, fair enough. I don't think you were ever muted. Okay, sweet. I have a lover. The Saudis used mercenaries when fighting the Yemenis, and they were trash. They had no skin in the game. Without US support, they would have been dysfunctional. I remember seeing a video from Yemeni fighters that took a US tank after the mercenaries ran away from it. After this, they set it on fire. Shit. Yeah. Yeah, I think like they got money and they want security. And like that's what I'm saying. Like, isn't it weird though? Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about the diplomacy or the politics of this region, but it just seems so weird that the Americans have got a fucking base in Qatar, and like just crickets. Like no one. Like I would be worried if I was Qatar. Like the whole reason you'd have somebody else have a military base is in your, like, especially like a superpower, is at least they'd care if someone bombed it. You'd be, oh well, or bombed near it anyway. You'd think that they'd protect you, but I guess just not against Israel. Israel can just do whatever, they want. Like I refreshed the video and it was still out, so I restarted the app. Oh, okay, thank God. I thought my fucking OBS was crashing again. I was freaking out, man.
Qatar, Turkey, Egypt, Bangladesh, and the UAE stand out as the most likely contenders.
Can you imagine if Turkey joined? Fuck.
Saudi Arabia's defense pact with Pakistan holds deep implications for
Turkey. Does anyone know if Turkey has nukes? Ask my research assistant that question. Does Turkey have nuclear warheads? Really? It's an arrangement. Nuclear gravity bombs are reportedly stored. They're stored in Turkey territory. They're under US control, of course, as a NATO nation, right? Right, okay.
Both nations, but it also comes with a lot of gray area. Islamabad risks being drawn into Saudi Arabia's rivalries with Iran and Yemen, while Riyadh assumes a stake in Pakistan's disputes with India and Afghanistan. The Indian front is perhaps the most complex of all. Over the past decade, New Delhi has steadily strengthened its ties with Riyadh. Saudi Arabia is one of India's largest oil suppliers. Bilateral trade sits at nearly $43 billion, and in April, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made his third visit to the kingdom. Yet, at precisely the moment when Pakistan faces the threat of Indian military action, Islamabad has secured a mutual defense pact with Saudi Arabia, signed on Modi's birthday no less. So, the agreement introduces new uncertainties into future India-Pakistan dynamics, which will need to be addressed as the agreement is implemented. But for Pakistan, the pact is more than a defense arrangement. It addresses its most pressing vulnerabilities. You see, Islamabad does not need Saudi guarantees. Its military, backed by nuclear deterrence, an indigenous arms industry, and Chinese weapons, can hold its own. What it lacks, however, are two essential.
Yeah, I've heard this a lot recently about how much the Chinese really fund everything that goes, supply arms to people in the Middle East. I just want to double check that. Do the Chinese supply arms to Pakistan. Since the 1960s, China and Pakistan have had a close defense partnership, partly to counterbalance India. Of course. China co-develops and co-produces the JF-17 Thunder fighter jets with Pakistan. Naval systems, China has sold its building type frigates. Interesting. Armor vehicles and artillery, supplies tanks. China supplies tanks and self-propelled artillery. Wow, so like it's a double whammy for Trump, isn't it? It really is. Like he can, if he gets Bagram back, he can really put pressure, as he said, on China. But he can do it both. He can like keep an eye on, or I guess American interests can keep an eye on both Pakistan and China at the same time. Two birds, one stone. Pakistan has acquired armed drones from China too. Interesting. Yeah, because I thought the Middle Eastern countries, like, your Saudis and all that sort of stuff, they only got their stuff from the Americans. But it seems that Chinese are in that market too. Eh? Yeah, why put all your eggs in one basket? Get from the Americans as well.
Energy security and financial resilience. Armed conflict is not just about tanks, missiles, and aircraft. It is about supply lines, logistics, and the liquidity needed to keep an economy running under strain. For Pakistan, external shocks such as sanctions, energy price spikes, or sudden financial cutoffs have long capped its ability to sustain a prolonged war. India had counted on this vulnerability, hoping to drain Pakistan's resources through drawn-out skirmishes. But with Saudi oil and financial backing now secured, the cap on Pakistan's endurance has been lifted. Pakistan will now be able to expand its arsenal beyond what its own economy could sustain and scale up its arms industry while doing so. To be clear, the pact is unlikely to fully deter India from striking Pakistan. But with support from three key powers, China, Turkey, and now Saudi Arabia, Islamabad is in a good place. For the first time, it can pair Chinese weapons with Saudi oil and money, giving it a war-fighting capacity it has never had before. Meanwhile, for Saudi Arabia, the pact is just as valuable. Saudi lawmakers had initially sought a defense treaty with the United States, along with US cooperation on a civilian nuclear program of its own. But the White House turned down the request and insisted that any deal would first require Saudi Arabia to normalize relations with Israel. Tensions escalated after the Hamas attack on October 7th, which set off the Gaza war and a wider regional conflict. Riyadh grew increasingly outraged by Israel's campaign in Gaza and by the conduct of Netanyahu and his far-right allies. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman went as far as to accuse Israel of committing genocide, making it clear that normalization was off the table unless Netanyahu ends the war and takes steps toward establishing a Palestinian state. At the same time, the Saudis...
Well, that's not going to happen, is it? Eh? No chance. There's no chance for a ceasefire. There's definitely no chance for a Palestinian state. They've kept on saying it over and over again now since all of this stuff has happened at the UN. All these countries are coming out and officially reporting and saying, hey, we recognize the Palestinian state. They've doubled down on it, just in case anyone was wondering and there was any speculation on what their position was. They've doubled down on it. And they are not accepting of the idea of a Palestinian state, and they are continuing their efforts to literally cleanse the earth, like bulldoze and take out any remnants of Palestinian civilization, any marker on the land that Palestinians once lived there. They're just gonna bulldoze over the entirety of it. So I don't think, it's not gonna happen. No ceasefire. They're not even going to exist they're not even going to be able to assemble a state, because they will be soon, literally, all of I'm not just talking about like the wiping the people out. I'm talking they're just going to bulldoze the entire thing like they never even existed. There's nothing left for them to go back to. Even if they were to take refuge somewhere and then to come back in the future, there's going to be nothing left for them to come back to.
Kept close ties with the Trump administration. They pledged more than $600 billion in US investments and hosted Trump in Riyadh during his Gulf tour in May. The hope was to nudge the White House toward compromise on the defense treaty. However, the negotiations that followed came to nothing. Saudi officials now acknowledge that a defense treaty with Washington is not going to happen unless they first normalize relations with Israel, something they have made clear they will not do. And so, for Saudi Arabia, the pact with Pakistan doubles as a signal to Washington and Tel Aviv that the kingdom can chart its own security. And frankly, it has to. Saudi Arabia sits at the intersection of global trade, energy infrastructure, and regional conflicts. These are all liabilities that cut to its very survival. But by tying its defense to Pakistan, a nuclear-armed state with experience in both conventional and unconventional warfare, Riyadh gains an ally that can act without Washington's oversight. The pact is, at once, a hedge against an Israeli strike on Saudi soil and as an insurance against American unpredictability. Perhaps most importantly, the pact extends Pakistan's nuclear umbrella over Saudi Arabia. Even if not spelled out in the agreement, the strategic ambiguity of Pakistani nukes factoring into Saudi's security.
We hope it will reinforce our deterrence. Aggression against one is aggression against the other, a senior Saudi official told the Financial Times. This is a comprehensive defense agreement that will utilize all defensive and military means deemed necessary depending on the specific threat. So, I guess, yeah, it's all contextual, right? Seen Albo's speech this morning yet? Telling everyone to look leadership outside of the US. A lot of it was very pointed. No, I haven't had the chance. I actually wanted to have a look at that. Spending the time listening to Trump's UN address, might as well listen to Albo's, right? I haven't had the luxury yet. Interesting, eh? World diplomacy, looking away from the US and its ability to be, the world police now. People are turning to their own. Can't believe Albo's. But I'm assuming it was very read between the lines kind of thing, what that Albo was saying, not directly calling out the Americans or Trump. I'm assuming. Anyway, have to be careful.
Is deterrent enough? And so, by signing the defense pact, Saudi Arabia has de facto gained a nuclear umbrella without breaching non-proliferation norms, while Pakistan has landed the strongest bankroller in the Middle East without the fiscal strings of the IMF. Nevertheless, some lines remain firmly in place. Saudi Arabia remains and will continue to be primarily dependent on the US for security. For now, this is hedging, not decoupling. I've been your host Shirvan from Caspian Report. If you approve of what we do,
I guess that kind of goes to what you were saying before, I guess, Jag, that they still rely on America. As that's what they're claiming here. They still really rely on America for security. They're in bed with the Americans, but this is a way of starting to hedge your bets, and this may be a start of something that is to come. Imagine if, like I said before, this is the point that you could point to in the future when we're all living in a cave somewhere, or in one of Peter Thiel's bunkers, and we've all moved over to New Zealand. We're waiting out the nuclear winter. And it's like, hey, do you remember when they all got together and they started forming agreements in the face of Israel's actions in the region? That's why we're all sitting here now in the dark. Come on, Albo. Manipulate Trump to get him to drop AUKUS. I just hated the whole look. At our social media ban part of it. Oh, they were talking about that. That's very topical on the world stage too, isn't it? clamping down on social media, internet verification. Scary, scary stuff. Scary stuff. All right. Yeah, like that's pretty much it. I wanted to kind of bring that up because, like I said, I haven't seen Western sources speaking about, I think, the importance of this relationship, to be honest. I think it is. It's important to see how the rest of the Arab world is dealing with this, especially given the nuclear option. I don't think we really give enough consideration to that generally, when it comes to people, potentially, like the more players you have that have kind of more security issues and they've got hardcore weaponry, there's more of a chance of someone just letting it off. Does India have a nuclear arsenal? India conducted in 1974. The Smiling Buddha. What a sick name. My God. India is not a signatory of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. That's interesting. India has an estimated 160 to 170 nuclear warheads. My God. Oh, they have land, air, and sea. They've got the trifecta. What do they call it? I can't remember the name they use for a triatrate or something. Land-based missiles. Air delivery. They got fighter aircraft. They can carry nuclear bombs. And they've got nuclear-powered submarines capable of launching nuclear missiles. Doctrine. India maintains a no first use policy. It's just like China has that as well. I guess they do have to have that in the being next to China, and because of the border disputes they have with China as well. I guess it's important for them. I like the part of Albert's speech where he said he wants to help every other country's people except for the people of Australia. You can't help yourself, can you? You love it. I'm going to leave the video kind of segment watching part of this now. We were completely derailed. I had other stuff that I wanted to look at. But I'm going to move on to, game plan afters now. So if people want to stick around and have a chat about things, like censorship or, manufacturing consent, or what media organizations like Ground News are completely questionable. I always wondered about that. Like whenever I see the ads for Ground News, and like they tout this idea that they're able to pick what's left and what's right, so you can get the opinions that matter, kind of thing. I was always wondering, what do they base that on? What type of scoring system someone needs to have as like a media organization to be able to discern what's left wing and right wing, or is it completely arbitrary? Do they just make it up? Did someone actually use Ground News then? Jungle Potatoes, I think you said something about not liking Ground News. I'm assuming in Dr. Nathan, you've actually used Ground News as well. Like, how the fuck did they actually figure out what's left wing and right wing? They have that political chart that everybody uses where you can place yourself on the liberal left, the authoritarian left, or the authoritarian right, and the libertarian right, or something like that. I wonder how they figure out the political spectrum. All right. Yeah, like I said, we're going to shift gears now. And like, really good suggestion, by the way. I think a couple of people suggested that I use Firefox with an ad blocker, and it's made a big difference. No, I'd never give them money. So it's just you've heard things, I'm assuming, then that's why you don't like them. I wonder how they figure it out. Actually, let's ask my research assistant. I wonder if they know. How does Ground News figure out? How does Ground News figure out what's left-wing media and what's right-wing media? They don't just make a guess. They pull from several independent third-party organizations that track media bias. All Sites uses blind surveys and community feedback. AdFronts Media publishes the media bias chart based on content analysis. NewsGuard focuses more on credibility and transparency. Aggregation method. They don't invent their own bias scale. Instead, they aggregate those external ratings. And if the sources disagree, Ground News will show the spread. Presentation on their platform, an article will show not just left versus right, but the range of outlets covering it with color codes. References multiple third-party media bias rating services. Interesting. Just from how they present themselves using these simplified terms. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. They are the moral compass. Oh, there you go. I can see one here. TLDR News Global. I know there's some people that like TLDR. I've referenced it before. They've talked about an Islamic NATO happening. So like some people are actually talking about it. There you go. I wonder what the people say in the comment section here. Saudis have money. Pakistan has functional military. Makes sense. Saudi Arabia has a dog shit military. Pakistan has a dog shit economy. Sounds like a match made in heaven. Someone realized that Pakistan is the only Muslim country with a nuclear arsenal. They already had a defense pact. They just wrote it down. An army with a country with a fuel station an army with a country with a fuel station with a country. That's pretty funny. We have Saudi-Pakistan military partnership before GTA 6. Why does people know this reference? People keep saying, oh, this happened before GTA 6. Has there been some massive delay on the release of GTA 6 that everyone's really upset about? And so like now, when anything significant happens, they say, oh, and we had this before GTA 6. Someone confirm if they know anything about gaming culture for me. Because I've seen this come up in comment sections everywhere. Blah, 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 blah happens before GTA 6. So effectively, India will be partially funding Pakistan in a future war against itself. Yes, so funny. By paying for Saudi oil. And then, yeah, that goes back into the Pakistani war machine to fight against India. That's hilarious. It's been 12 or 13 years since GTA 5. Okay, right. So people are just expecting it. Jeff, we all know the most accurate and unbiased news source, Chris Kenny. Who the fuck is Chris Kenny? It's obviously a joke. I need to be part of this. I need to understand what the joke is. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had some Sky News, right? Hey? And the circle of life continues. Hey, it's fucking capitalism, isn't it? It's just like the money moves around and circulates, and the people that fund the war and the stuff for other people, the killing of their own civilians, and the capitalist economy just helps go round, baby. Chris Kenny. Lab Jeff, you should change your name. It shouldn't be Lab Jeff anymore. It should be Chris. Chris Kenny. Look at that fucking smile, bro. Hey? As if that man has an ounce of bias in him. We've heard him talk. Very balanced interpretation of things, might I add. Lies and slander. Laughed Jeff. How dare you? How dare you? All right, let's. So far, OBS has been fine. I wonder what the fuck happened before. We're gonna have to continue. We're gonna have to troubleshoot this again later tonight. See what's going on. But yeah, this is the afters session now. So if you're interested in hanging around and having chats, yesterday's chats were getting interesting. I think we were really speculating on, communism and what that actually means. People were having separate chats as well about all of that. So if you're interested in sticking around for the afters, yeah, we're going to get into that. And I'm going to do some Rome Total War gameplay in the interim. Really disappointing stuff this morning, though. Can't believe the chat. I can't believe OBS crashed out. Have to do something about that. As always, do the roll call. Please let me know if you're hanging around for the afters or not, so I know who's here. I wonder if Voltatel is still here. Let me know if you're here, Voltatel. I'd like to know your opinion, actually, on what New Zealand is doing when it comes to recognizing Palestinian statehood. Because it seems like they're the only country, like, I guess, Western country now. What is going on? All right. Like, that's part of Five Eyes that have just decided not, apart from America, obviously, but have decided not to recognize Palestinian statehood. Like, everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is doing it, man. Everyone else is doing it. I don't know why the New Zealanders, I can't figure out why the New Zealanders are not recognizing it. Like, the only thing I can think of is they really are worried about like trade negotiations with Trump, and so they're scared of like tariff policy, him coming in and raising tariffs on them and punishing them for coming out with it. New Zealand is too busy revoking the status of Maoris. Huh. Yeah, well, the Western phenomenon, right? Attacking. I'm just gonna lurk. Need some more sleep. Tropico 6 stream. When? Ah, yes. I still haven't investigated it yet, I must admit. If I'm going to be honest, yeah, I must admit I haven't looked at the game yet. I haven't had a chance, but I do want to check it out before I sit in a stream and try it out. But yeah, a lot of Western countries that are fighting the woke mind virus, fighting against Indigenous rights at the moment. I remember 4S was pretty upset about Australia's take on Indigenous rights recently with the yes vote. I wonder what people's opinions here of the yes campaign, the voice to Parliament. That'd split this chat, I reckon. People's opinions on that. Could he run that considering how much a 20-year-old game struggles? Hey, look, the 20-year-old game is coming through Steam. Back in the day, it used to come through a CD-ROM drive. You got to remember, UK, US, and Canada are all controlled center-left parties at the moment. New Zealand is a mix of far-right parties. Yeah, I guess. It's also got a very different and weird political system that promotes and tries to enforce minority rule. And so, like, you have to form coalitions. So it seems like it takes them ages to do anything of substantial change in New Zealand, just the way their structure is set up. They don't do anything, really. It takes ages to decide on anything. But like, it doesn't even seem like a left and a right issue anymore, right? With like the amount of countries that are signing on to this. Like I've heard them speak about it. They say the exact same rhetoric that like Albo says. Oh, it's a shame about Hamas. They're a terrorist organization. And like, it's a problem October 7, but We don't like genocide. Like they say the exact same shit as their counterparts in Canada, in Australia, in the UK. Like all of them, they all say the same thing, but they haven't decided to make the jump yet. It's really interesting. Do you think the LNP or Tories would have done this? But they use this. This is what I'm saying. They all use the same rhetoric. And I think, like, Susan Ley, like, the only reason she's saying that, oh, we need to, reject this is because she wants to be oppositional, literally oppositional to anything that Albo does. That's their shtick now. And, like, that they've got absolutely no prospects and no ability to govern. Like, all she's got is just, like, if Albo does something, I've just got to have to oppose it, right? 5 eyes plus Israel, which makes it 6 eyes, or a 6-pointed star. Dun, dun, dun. That's pretty good. I'll take that. Have you seen Mr. M's video on Israel, Australia yet? No. No, I haven't. I'm not sure I know who Mr. M is either. It might have come up on my feed. I've seen a thumbnail with like someone unzipping, like, what's the real relationship or something between Australia and Israel. Might be that one. I voted no. Treat everyone the same. Interesting. Yeah, Susan used to be quite pro-Palestine. Like, are you being serious or is that sarcasm? I can't tell. No, she's saying it's so AJC doesn't come for her head too. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you voted no. It would treat everyone the same. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. That seemed to be the argument that won over people. It was like, let's not divide the country. With more layers of bureaucracy as well, right? Who wants more bureaucrats? What are we looking at here? And they've got an extra army. Damn. I have to fight a war on 2 fronts. Shit. Alright, let's do this. Mr. M History, another Jordan person. He was on the pod with Ali and Miss yesterday. Oh, no, I haven't seen this person. No, 100% serious. I'll find a link. Ah, okay. There you go. Right. Albanese and Lay were friends of Palestine. What shifted? There you go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Both Albanese and Lay are past conveners of the Parliamentary Friends of Palestine group when they were backbenchers more than 2 decades ago. Yeah, okay. So it's completely ideological for her. She needs to build this party machine. And their stance is just to be opposed to Albo. Interesting. Very interesting. Why not, eh? Fucking Albo. What's he ever done for us? The Romans? What did they ever do for us? Eh? I'm going to put this here so I can actually see the stream chat properly. By also, maybe but also, you're saying there, dilemmas. Aboriginals hadn't invented shelter shoes, the wheel, or boiling water, and those pesky English with their steam power came and ruined it. Well, the English did a lot of ruining all around the world, might I add. Ask the Chinese. Eh? The British did some crazy shit there with their steam power. Took the Chinese by surprise, that's for sure. Might keep that here. Interesting. They're really spread out. Ali's take on recognizing Palestine from FJ Pod is interesting. Ooh, and what was his take? That's not worth it. Shot out from there. I can't believe OBS is still holding up. This is good. This is great. One of my military strategists is here. 4AS. I can't believe they haven't put more troops around here. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Now, I'm interested to know what Ali's take was now. You have me intrigued. I think they could go faster than that, right? Get out of the firing line, for fuck's sake. It was a long discussion with the intellectual titan that is Miss Love. Okay. But, like, wrap it up for me. Like, what was it? Like, yeah. I thought the reason was kind of... It was pretty obvious. Like, all these people don't want to be seen as being late to the party on the issue of like being on the wrong side of history, of genocide, etc., etc. And so they want to recognize Palestine. But if there's some other type of strategic thing going on there, I wonder. I was watching the FJ stream the other day, and Ali was saying the usual lefty line of Kirk didn't deserve to die, but then the stream disappeared. Not sure what happened. It wasn't live. Get out. Are you serious? They got done? I wonder if they're not allowed to speak about it. No way did that happen. Do you reckon they got censored? No way. That's mental if they did. Hello. What are you waiting for? Kill him. Hello. There's heaps of hoplites. What do we got? More horse, more cavalry, hoplites, peasants. What am I dealing with here? Do you know who the last PM was who stood against Israeli actions in Palestine? No. Yeah, hit us up with the historical factoid, please. I would like to know more. Wonder who it was. And wonder if it was ages ago as well. Like in the 70s or something. That was Goff. There you go. Goff had to Goff. Right. Do you know anything about why there's a Bob Hawke Memorial Forest in Israel? No. No, I do not. Tell us more. Can't stand the chariots, man. Fucking hell. They absolutely hammer my soldiers. I'm out. Someone's been listening to Mr. M History. What's Mr. M History? What is this person? What it looked like. Ali was being very headline on Kirk was bad, and Geordie was trying to be measured, you know, because of the firebomb thing. Ah, right. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I have spoken to Jordan about that actually, because like he's got lived experience, as the lefties like to say. Yeah, got lived experience. Oh man, what are they doing? Seriously, dumb fucks. Getting baited. They're getting chomped. They're just getting shut down, man. Oh, I can't actually see the stream chat. It's crazy. Where did that go? Oh, here it is. Oh, there's Mr. M history. Sorry. Oh, yeah, that's the one with the zipper. Yeah, yeah. Mr. M history is very good listening. It was very good listening. Highly recommended. Okay, fair enough. But yes, thanks, Lap Jeff. Have a good afternoon. Because Hawk held the record for beers drunk on a plane, and they are paying their respects, obviously. Yeah, very good. Obviously. All right, so this is the way in. Oh my god, really? There's only one way into this town center. Oh, really gone the wrong way. Yeah, he has a podcast too. It's really informative. So, did you say he's affiliated with Jordan? Or he's just been on their podcast? He's part of the propaganda machine. guess I'm gonna have to go this way. It's not where I thought I was gonna go. Groper, bro. Hello. No way we got a Groper in here. Are you actually a Groper? Or do you just have a name like that? Tell us, please. I'm excited. Ah, Aglicar. Oh my god, can we ask you some questions? How you going? Jordan has promoted him a few times in his main videos as a better source on Oz poll history a few times, but only had him on the pod for the first time in the week. Right, okay. Sure. Oh, fucking crazy. Do you know anything about the... Oh, Solar Bear's in the house too. Do you know anything about the Groper Wars? Groper, bro? Groper, bro, sorry. I gotta pronounce that properly. Yeah, do you know anything about it? Were you involved in the famed battles against Charlie Kirk and the culture wars? I would like to know more, please. Yes, of course. I watched it live. Ah, okay. And so were the Groper was just like people that used to get up and troll Charlie Kirk? Like kind of live kind of thing. Is that pretty much all it was about? Trolling the Kirkster? I learned all that from your stream the other day. I've heard of Nick from seeing Destiny stuff. Ah, interesting. Okay. Well, so Destiny and Fuentes like used to debate and stuff. I'm not a big fan of Destiny, I guess you would say. Like he's a bit too... Oh, he's obviously a liberal. So I don't think he really has good solutions for like the problems he seems to be worried about. It's all capital-based solutions. Hey, Groper, bro, were you involved? Sorry, was it just simply people, yeah, getting up and trolling Kirk and stuff like that? Destiny suck Fuentes, if that's what he's talking about. He is everywhere. Right. Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? They're a little bit promiscuous, aren't they? These lads. No, Destiny's rather promiscuous. Apparently. How does anyone take Destiny seriously? Back to games for that. Fuentes said, yeah, fucking women is gay. I heard that allegation. I haven't seen footage of him saying it, but I heard people talking about that. And just like Andrew Tate has said stuff like that as well, apparently. You know, classic, eh? Women, eh? Some trolling, but mostly it was about holding Charlie accountable. He used to say that he wanted to staple green cards to diplomas. Then he changed his position thanks to Groypers. He also used to go around with this gay veteran called Rob Smith. Groper's asked why he promoted gay people. Interesting. And so I'm assuming from the Groper perspective that like homosexuality is a problem. Is that why, like, because conservatives like Charlie Kirk and Christians like Charlie Kirk should be against homosexuality? Is that why? And so the Gropers called him out on that. I can't believe it. How did you find this stream, Groper, bro? Oh man, they got more chariots coming. Hate the fucking chariots. Fuck, they got heaps of chariots. Shit. I just typed politics into Twitch. No way. Milo owned Destiny when he called him a cuck years ago, before his missus left him for her side piece. The sex with women being gay was a little out of context. The full clip, he says that guys who have tons of sex with lots of women are similar to gay men who have extremely high amounts of sex. To chase sex all the time is what gay people do. Interesting. See, that's the thing. That one was for Groper, bro. Interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting when you like look at things in context, because that one's been clipped heavily, or like discussed heavily about. And so, what do you think about the fact that Nick Fuentes is gay? Then, like, is there's that's circulating for sure. Do you think that's an issue that Fuentes needs to address? Not gonna lie, I think there is 10% chance it's true, and it's not good. He will eventually get married, and people will still call him gay though. So like, don't you think you can be gay and be married? Like that's not the first time in history that a man would have like entered into homosexual relations with someone, and been gay. Have you seen the stuff about? Is it Benny Johnson? I'm pretty sure his name is Benny Johnson. Has just been outed for having sex with dudes, despite the fact that he's married and got like 4 kids. Have you heard these rumors? It's funny how like a lot of this stuff is coming out now. It's almost like kind of the liberal left, I guess, in America has figured out kind of an ace in the hole in terms of smear campaigns to get back at, I guess, the right wing. And like it's coming out hard, like all the grinder allegations and all that type of stuff. These fucking things cause so much chaos. Look at them, the bastards. Like 5 chariots have just like killed like 50 people easily. They just fucking destroy everything. They're absolutely chaos, man. They've wiped out like 2 units easily. It's crazy. Benny Johnson posted a screenshot of an ad for a gay cruise saying, "Look at the ads that are now being shown," not knowing they were targeted ads. So like, is he gay then? Like I saw that. Like he's got on his ads come up now. Like his algorithm's been affected. Yeah, it's 100% blue MAGA influence. Interesting. Blue MAGA, of course. Man, what did I miss today? Ha ha ha. Yeah, well, like you missed a bit of stuff. Like we had some drama before my stream went down, and so like I couldn't actually I couldn't do anything because OBS like just died. Um, and so look at that. It's wiped out. I had like a full unit there, and those fucking like 5 chariots wiped out the whole fucking unit. I can't fight against chariots. They're the worst, man. Sucks. I don't know what I'm gonna do. These chariots are killing me. Look at that. They've wiped out this whole unit as well. There was like 20 of them at least. They completely wiped out from those chariots. Chariots, man. Nick, is this the kind of guy? Nick is the kind of guy to get fucked in the ass, but claim this is it's not gay because he didn't suck it. Oh my god, dilemmas. Seriously, if Nick is gay, then it's still the good thing to get married and suppress it. When I go to the gym, there's lots of women that are not my wife. I don't act on that. Wow, this is very interesting logic. So because you withhold your inner desires to have sex with women around you, that is the same as being someone who is homosexual or like is sexually attracted to men, and like you just need to control yourself. It's the same thing. Just control yourself, control your inhibitions, be an adult, and just control yourself. It's not moral. It's just like anyone, they should be able to control themselves. That's if I got that logic right. And what do you think? Actually, to answer that question, I got another question for you. I can't believe that I get to interview people on my streams. This is so good. We had Aku the Great coming in from Nepal, answering questions about that situation. We got a Groper bro in there as well. Ah, this is awesome. Thanks for coming in, by the way, Groper bro. Does that not make sense? Well, like that's the form of logic. I'm just conform like, because you can have logic to justify anything. Doesn't mean that it's like it's true or it's right. It's just the way that you think and interpret the world. But like, it does make sense in the sense that, like, yes, okay, so if you can be a man and not have, like, throw yourself and try and have sex with a woman if you're sexually attracted to women, then if you're sexually attracted to men, then you can just stop yourself from trying to have sex with men. Like, if it's just about controlling your sexual urges, then yeah, that makes sense. But what you're talking about is, like, if you were a man that was attracted to women, suppressing the fact that you're attracted to women, not suppressing your sexual desire just to be with a particular person, but just generally suppressing the fact that you're attracted to women generally. Not individual women that you want to have sex with, just saying, no, it's not right for me to want to have sex with women. I better suppress that whole part of my personality that is sexually attracted to women. That's what you're talking about. I don't think it's the same type of constraint. Like, you have to show constraint to not just like have sex with women at the gym. You have to show constraint, but that's not the same as suppressing the fact that you're sexually attracted to a particular gender. I don't know if those are the same things, but it seems like your argumentation is that those things are exactly the same and completely analogous. So it justifies it. How could Benny Johnson have children if he has zero attraction to women? How could Benny Johnson have children if he has zero attraction to women? Oh, look, again, I'm pretty sure there's been a few gay people in history who've had to have, had to have kids and to like keep up appearances and stuff like that. But like, they're not really they're not attracted to women at all. They're just doing what they think is socially necessary. But I take your point. He must have been able to get an erection to get her pregnant, if that's what you're saying. If that's what you're saying. I believe all my cavalry's gone. It's crazy. They've been absolutely wiped out. Getting reamed over here, bro. Fuck. Reamed. Is that Age of Empires? No, it's Rome Total War. Hello, people. Did I miss much? Reality Pixel. Oh my god. We're doing a live interview again. We've got Groper bro who's joined in. And so like Groper boy bro, sorry, is like helping us kind of understand the Groper psychology a little bit better, because Gropers have obviously become increasingly important since Charlie Kirk's assassination, given the fact that um, they were instrumental in opposing him from a right-wing perspective, and that Tyler Robinson, the assassin, was accused of being a groper as well. What do you think about that? That's what I want to know. If you're not going to answer the question about how sexual attraction is not as black and white as I think you're making it, what do you think about Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin, as being a groper? Because apparently the argumentation is that the incel movement the groper movement is full of incels. And the incels actually do prefer having sex with men that are dressed like women. That was pushed by leftists to get the heat off them. But like, well, how do you explain like the social media like posts and like pictures of him doing kind of reenacting groper memes and stuff like that? How do you explain that? Oh, that's just left wing, like nonsense kind of thing. Why can't it actually? They were not groper memes. Okay, what were they? You know, the one with the Adidas and the Pepe the Frog and all that sort of stuff? That wasn't groper memes. What was it? Like, I would like to know, because that's like the evidence that people are putting forward to make a case why this guy was a groper. Like he was. Are you denying that he was like comes from a Republican family and all that sort of stuff? That was Squatting Slav and Pepe, and those aren't references to groper culture at all. Got nothing to do with it. Squatting Slav. No, Groper Boy is more fitting description. Because this is what people are saying, right? I had no idea what a groper was last month, but kind of fascinating that it's at the forefront of conversations. I know, like I had no idea what it was. And that's why I'm trying to determine it. So it's amazing that we've got someone here that identifies as such. And we just have to take them on their word that they are one. But like, you know, I would like to know how this culture kind of exists. And like, you know, denying the... So, yeah. Hey, he came from a Republican family for sure, and his mum was extremely overbearing. And like, what's that got to do with like, so like, is the mum the problem kind of thing? Is that what you're saying? It was the mum's fault that he did what he did because she was too overbearing. Let's be honest, all Americans are kind of gay. Just look at Top Gun volleyball scene. Hey, you know, that's funny. I was speaking to a European once while I was watching rugby league, and there was like all like four guys in on a tackle on one dude, and they're all like, you know, wrestling on the floor and stuff. And they were like, "This is really gay." You've got these sweaty dudes in short shorts, all like just jumping on top of each other, rubbing their bodies against each other. And I'm like, no, they're tackling. You don't get it. They're just like, you know, they're roughing each other up. And they were like, no, it's pretty gay. I was like, yeah, fair enough. I guess I've never thought of it like that before. uh, but there you go. Australian culture is pretty homoerotic as well. Take that one. Dilemmas. Where's your response to that? Because I didn't have really a response to that when that person said that to me. When you need a distraction from your stupidity, remember you have tried blaming a woman. Adidas will forever be Slav. Remember when you squat. Heels, high western spine. Heels, high western spine. Interesting. Yeah, do you think his mother was the reason that he did what he did? Like, that's what you're saying? He had an overbearing Republican mum. Is that the Utah way? To have overbearing parents? Nick did a full stream debunking it and pointing out the people pushing it. I can admit all the faults of Groipers. There was one Groiper who was arrested for calling in a bomb threat to the Turning Point USA event. Okay. So like it's not, but like it's not conclusive then what you're saying that this person, Tyler Robinson, was a Groiper? Like even though there have been instances where they have made like kind of violent threats or whatever to Turning Point USA events. It's baseless. This is really interesting. Thanks for talking. He was definitely not a groper. And why? That's because there's no evidence to say he was? Not a chance. He had a trans boyfriend. Now, that's interesting that you say that because we've looked at a source on this who is a trans person, I believe, and they were like, they have zero evidence and lots of evidence against it. Yeah, they understand that there is a subculture within like incel movements, especially where they, because of their hatred for women, they take on feminized male partners, like in a kind of Spartan romance kind of situation where they will have sex and romantic relations with men. And some of those men take on feminized positions because they don't really like women and stuff like that. You are talking about a guy called Bronze Age Pervert. I'm not sure what his name was, but like he reckons there's an incel culture that loves trans people and stuff like that, like obsessively. And that's actually more evidence that this person was like an incel at least, if not a groper specifically. But he did target gropers as saying they were definitely incels. It's true, but it's not gropers. What's true? That incels are keen on their trans dudes. Trans women, I guess, depending on how they identify. Well, there are incels and trans complete freaks, but like you gropers, you're saying gropers wouldn't have anything to do with that. And if he's not a groper, is he potentially an incel or a right wing of another delineation that's not gropers? Never. You should be shunned. Okay. Fair enough. So you seem to be anti, like, trans or gay and all that sort of stuff. How do you reconcile being a Groper and knowing that Nick Fuentes, has had homosexual encounters, I guess you would say, right? He said that he killed Charlie because he was so hateful. Yes. That was what was on the text messages between him and his partner. I remember seeing that. Which some people have called out as, like, not legitimate. I don't know if you've seen that. Like, they're saying that those messages don't look like they're between two people that are, like, Gen Z, basically. Nick isn't gay. That's just his haters. So Nick isn't gay. But, like, didn't you admit before that he might have or has probably had homosexual encounters before and stuff like that? I said there's a 10% chance he could be closeted, 90% straight. Yeah, but, like, did you deny that, like, he has had sexual encounters with other men? Because that was the accusation that was being made. Was that, like, he has, he is a virgin? Do you believe that? Like, honestly? And, like, even if he is a virgin, he hasn't had sexual intercourse. Like, you can still, mac on with a dude. You can still, perform other sexual acts, and stuff like that. He only has ever kissed a girl. Like, and you know that personally, or you're just saying, like, based on his anecdotal evidence, like, from him, like what he said, kind of thing. I'm assuming you don't know Nick Fuentes. I'm assuming you don't know Nick Fuentes, like, personally. You're talking, like, anecdotally kind of stuff. Yes, he spurges out on women all the time. The fuck does that mean? When you say, like, spurging, is that like when you spend all your money on women? I am in his group chat and I've been to his events, but I don't know him personally. Oh, okay, fair enough. But you've heard him talking about this, obviously. No. Come on. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, Asperger's. Okay. Well, what do you mean by he spurges out on women all the time? Like, he rants about women all the time? Is that what you mean? I got too much of this rot talk. Fair enough. Thanks for answering the questions, by the way. I'm genuinely am curious. Because there is a lot of conspiracy about Tyler Robinson and stuff like that. So it's kind of like hard to tell all the time what the truth is. It's mainly Jewish accounts on X that push the fake bullshit about Gropers and Nick. That's a big call, man. It's a big call. Uh, why specifically Jews? Why do you think it's Jews that do that, and not like anyone else that potentially might have a gripe with Nick Fuentes? Like there'd be a lot of people that potentially have a gripe with Nick Fuentes, right? It could be like anyone. Because Jews have the biggest problem with him. Like, what about migrants and like gay people and trans people? There must be a few people that have a gripe with him, right? Maybe like you know what I mean? There must be a number of people that would have a gripe with him potentially. What are they doing? Why are they hiding over there for? Man, this battle has taken fucking ages. They don't have the power and influence plus seething hatred. Okay, so that's like that's pretty subjective. Like you got to admit, like you seem like you're able to have a discussion here, and you haven't run away or called us any names or anything like that. So like you're down to chat, but that's like out of all the people that you think that could potentially have some type of prejudice against Fuentes, you're just saying that like they have more of a seething hatred than any other group. Like it's a big call. Just them. There couldn't be anyone else that'd have a seething hatred. Oh, they're the most hate filled. Ah, they couldn't help themselves. They had to fight. Oh, they're too tired to run. That's why. Ben Shapiro and his company literally got fired from his first show because he called out Israel. Ah, okay. So when you say Jews, you mean Israel. I don't think people here are going to argue with you that Israel has way too much power, especially in like American politics, right? But like, oh, you just mean like all Jewish people. Because yeah, if you're talking about Israel, then I think we could all get down with that. Israel do have way disproportionate power in American politics, and therefore Western politics generally. Way too much power. They seem to have dirt. Ben Shapiro is a Jew. He is not Israeli. Yeah. So like, what is your point? Are you saying that it's Israelis or it's just all Jewish people? Wow, that was like the longest battle we've done so far. That took ages. Fucking hell. That took too long. Yeah, he's not Israeli. So yeah. Sorry. What point are you making exactly? Dilemmas. I've heard the blacks aren't a fan of him. LOL. Who? Who are you talking about? uh, I don't get the question. Okay, sorry. You said before that like Jews hate Fuentes the most, and they have just like because they have a general seething hatred, and they have power. Um, Blacks love Nick. Don't you see Kanye and Nick collabs? Oh, you're talking about dilemmas. This question. Well, my question was more that you said that like they're the most hate-filled Jews, but then you said no. But look at the power that the Israelis have. So I'm just trying to understand whether you think that Fuentes is under attack or gets like a bad rap because Israel's power, which I think, yeah, most people would agree that Israel has way too much power, or you just think generally Jewish people have too much power. Is it the Israelis that you see as a problem, or do you think just all Jewish people are a problem? They're full of hatred and all that sort of stuff. Nick called out Israel on his show, and Benchville got him fired. Oh, both. Okay. Fair enough. So this is like kind of this is a prejudicial thing. You don't like Jews as a groper, or just you as an individual? I'm assuming then Jewish people can't be groypers. We still love Jews though. This is complex. I've noticed this in the culture. Like we want them to convert to Christianity. So in the same way, then you love trans people, I guess. You just want them to convert to Christianity. Oh, and stop influencing our country, right? So yeah, like, do you love trans people in the same way because you want them just to like see the light and convert or something? I think it's fair if you say that Israel is influencing your country. Israel has a lot of influence over America and world politics generally, which is kind of scary if you think about it. The amount of influence, like even over the president, it seems like it's really obvious. Like Trump just has absolutely no control over BB. BB. We want trans people to stop being trans and live life how Jesus intended. We love them and we want their souls to be saved. Wait, do you not realize Israel is a Jewish country? Yes, but that doesn't mean all Jewish people are Israeli. I think you pointed that out before. And like it sounded like what you were saying before was that like all Jews are seething with hatred and have too much power. I would say that it's probably not the case that all Jews are seething with hatred and have too much power. It'd be like most other cultures where there are sections, I guess, of the diaspora that have disproportionate power due to things like, wealth and influence and economic control, like control over the means of production and things like that. Dilemmas. It was good. The first part of it was good. Our Jews full of hate filled because of Nick's actions, or hate filled just because of all the Jewy. There's a great meme of a guy getting attacked by a beehive, and someone next to him says, "Not all bees." And what's the point of that meme then? Like, what's the point of that? Or how do you interpret that meme? Actually, I guess that's probably more important. My local Labour government rep has 10 flags in his office, and one of them is Israel, even though Israel is only something tiny, like 1% of the world population. You say not all Jews. Oh, okay. What's the point? It's most of them. Oh, right. Oh, again, it's a big call. Big call. Quite a diaspora. And he's saying like all of them are seething with hatred and are powerful. Yeah, it's a big call. It's a very big call. Hmm. Okay, and so yeah, we're across the fact that Tyler Robinson, in your opinion, was not a groper, and your evidence for that was along the lines of that the memes people referred to him as partaking in has got nothing to do with groper culture, and like you said something about his mum being overwhelming or overbearing. Do you think that had an impact on him and his political standing, and like why he did what he did, like because of his mum? Is that why you were talking about that before? Wait, I think you misunderstood. I said people who are aggressively pushing the fake stuff about Nick and Groypers are seething, hateful Jews on X. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it, got it, got it. But like, it's like, it's just Jewish people on X. Like, there's no one else spreading fake stuff about Nick and Groypers. No one else, just Jews. 4AS in the house. Oi, 4AS. You wouldn't believe it. But we've got Groper Bro in, and Groper Bro is answering questions and helping us understand from the inside perspective on what Groper culture is and his positions on like homosexuality, trans culture, like whether Tyler Robinson was a Groper, all of, Okay, why do you think have you turned on the SPQR yet? Yeah. It's like, wait, but first, how's Rome Total War going? So good. I'm so excited that we've got like a real groper in here. So we can ask questions. Lots of others are paid for by Jews as well. In Twitch? Yeah, in Twitch. It's coming up on the top of the screen. You should be able to see it on the top right-hand corner of the screen. Okay, fair enough. So that's your position. So if they're not Jews themselves spreading hate about Nick Fuentes, they're paid by Jews or something like that. They're actors. Interesting. This is very interesting, by the way. Like I've all I've seen from like the type of stuff that gets fed into my algorithm is like groper culture being assessed from the point of people that aren't gropers, obviously. So I haven't actually met a groper or someone who's actually been able to explain the culture from the inside. And so, in your opinion, then, as a groper bro, who do you think Tyler Robinson is, and why did he kill Charlie Kirk, or why may he have killed Charlie Kirk? For example, Milo Yiannopoulos had 10 to 20 tweets a day pushing really nasty fake stuff. About like about Tyler Robinson or about Nick Fuentes? Is anyone listening to this that's like, I don't know, on that's stuck around for the afters? It's just sitting back and listening to the conversation here. Like, I can't believe our luck when it comes to Twitch. First, Aku the Great comes in from Nepal, answers questions about the situation. Now we've got Groper Bro answering questions on stream. What are the fucking odds that that was going to happen? Can't believe it. About Nick and Groper's. He is a gay Jew, by the way. Yes. Fair enough. He is a gay Jew. And so he's pushing the stuff about it being Groper's? Is that what you're saying? Like, is that what Milo has been doing? He's saying, the person who killed Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, 100% a Groper. Oh my God, 4AS. Could you imagine? I haven't even thought about that. Yes, Groper Bro. I'm gonna give you an invite. You can choose what you want to do with it. But this is our Discord. Now I'm not gonna lie. This is a very diverse group of people here, and you might not agree with everything here. And people definitely not going to agree with all the stuff that you say, or there's a lot of people that definitely won't agree with the stuff that you say. If you're interested in having discussions and sharing the propaganda that you're into, the Groper propaganda or whatever, then like come and join the conversation. There's the invite for our Discord. So if you are interested, come and join the conversation. And convince us of your ideological positions. Drop your propaganda. Oh my God, there's mines. All right. Get some of that fresh mining money. Yeah, I'm curious on what Groper propaganda is all about too for us. I must admit. Get your ass over there. Can we investigate Ian Carroll videos one day? He goes pretty deep into most of this stuff, and he is friends with right-wing podcasters like Candace Owen and Nick Fuentes. He hasn't really touched the Groypers. Interesting. Yeah, I guess so. Can you put it like something of his that you like and tag me in the Discord so I can check it out? Milo pushes every single fake news about Nick and Groypers, anything and everything. Tyler Robinson was in Discords and apparently played furry games all day. He came from Mormon family and had a gay boyfriend, so that's going to cause problems. Played furry games all day. Do you reckon that's what the engravings then on the bullets were about when he was making references to like, oh, whoa, like notices bulge. If you're reading this, you're gay, all of that sort of stuff. And when you say he had a gay boyfriend, Ian Carroll is friendly to Groper's. But I thought Kanye was mates with Fuentes and Milo works with Kanye, but Milo was posting fake stuff on Twitter. Maybe my timelines are messed up. Yeah, it's hard to keep track of all this stuff. Not gonna lie. Eh? Not gonna lie. I think I'm almost there, 4AS. I know that you think I should take on the SBQR. It's time to take Rome. And I agree with you. I just haven't been ready yet to do that. So I'm going to start launching a full-scale attack, I think. I've been slowly building up my armies. Slowly. Like I've got one just sitting here doing fuck all. An entire army doing fuck all. You're right. Milo and Nick had to work together with Yi. But like, why would Nick work with Milo then? Nick would hate Milo because he's gay, right? Empty Mordor. Oh god, that actually makes sense. Milo's stands are much more like this kid. Milo fans, I'm assuming that's what that is. Oh, so do you reckon it was potentially that? Yeah, again, do you have a theory on Groper, bro? Do you have a theory on who it was then? Was it the radical left, the far left, the evil far left that killed Charlie Kirk? Or was it someone like, yeah, a Milo follower or Milo type? Did you ever listen to Ye's song called Hail Hitler? Ye is Nick's hero. Of course, he would work with Milo if it means working with Ye. Interesting. So, like, gays aren't a problem then? Dude, we're about to get into conservative infighting talking points. I know. We, like, 4AS, we've been on this train for a little bit. Believe it. We've been speaking about this stuff for, I don't know, however long Groper Bro's been on with us now. For at least an hour, I'd say. Maybe half an hour. And my camera's fucking... It's not working. It's delayed. Hello? Hello? Ah, it's not that delayed. That's better. I'm listening. So, like, if you're upset... let me ask you this question. As a Groper, if you're upset that Charlie Kirk has gay people like Ron Smith, was it Ron Smith, like on tour with him, and you're willing to troll him for that, like working with a gay black dude, why is it okay for Nick Fuentes to work with Milo, who is gay, just so he can get closer to Kanye West? I don't know how like you can reconcile that. Already said, it's probably just antisocial guy with issues. Maybe he was in leftist discords, but we don't know much. Okay, antisocial guy. That was like pretty much my assessment of things as well. It was like this seems to be someone who's fucking chronically online, and so like that's a big fucking problem. Like it's obviously a problem for him. because he's chronically online, and they need to figure that one out. I agree. Must admit, that is a problem. Not that there's anything wrong with being online. Could I just say? It's true. Marlo is pretty based. LOL. To be fair, I'm still not sure Tyler did it. Yeah, that's a good point. Have you seen the ones with the bullet entry? All the videos coming out now, it's just like, I'm a Marine or something like that. I know what a bullet entry rune looks like, and it couldn't have come from that direction, and like blah 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 blah. Yeah. Have you seen all this stuff that comes out in the last few days? In the FBI admitting there's reinvestigating every angle now. Yeah, but they really wanted for that witch hunt to go down. They really had to have someone to placate the masses, right? They needed to have something. He was constantly telling Yi to fire Milo. He and Candace had a group text with Yi showing him how much of a snake Milo is. But it's okay for him to be associated with Milo as long as he can get close to Kanye West, even if he wants him fired. Kash Patel, the Indian in charge of the FBI, is incredibly incompetent. And why is that? Because he's Indian or because he's incompetent? Because he's incompetent. He's a podcaster. Charlie Kirk was promoting a gay person and saying stuff like, it's okay to be gay and conservative. But like by Nick associating with Milo, it's not giving the same message. I guess maybe not. Nick has never said it's okay for Milo to be a gay Jew. Okay, fair enough. So that's the distinction. I see. Interesting. I just one other thing that I really wanted to understand, just so I understand the psychology of the Groper culture, is that, as you were saying before, and I know we had this conversation like 45 minutes ago now, but like just help me clarify this, please, Groper bro. Gay people shouldn't exist because like Christian values, etc. And so like if you're gay and you're attracted to a man, it's the same thing as if you, like you said, you go to the gym and you see an attractive woman and you're heterosexual. You should resist trying to have sex with women because that's like naturally what you do. You don't just see a woman try and have sex with her. You resist those urges and your inhibitions. You control yourself. And so a gay man in the same way should just control their urges and not have sex with men. Is that the logic? Just so I want to understand it properly. Dilemmas. These ideologies make no sense. Seems like they just flip flop willy nilly. There is a case for that. Pulling the rifle apart with the screwdriver on the roof, then leaving the screwdriver on the roof, only to put the rifle back together and leave it. What the fuck? Interesting. I haven't seen those theories. What? The Egyptian port of Salamis? Ah, no, thank you. All right. Ooh, I'm listening, but not too closely. Not enough of brain capacity to code and listen at this time of the day with this much sleep. Yeah, sorry. I just Avalava, I'm sorry only reading this now, but like yeah, it's interesting though that we have a Groper to ask questions. Okay, a gay man should ask Jesus for help to stop living in sin. If he's 100% gay with no chance of converting, then you just abstain and become like a great artist or something. Channel that energy into something positive. All right. And so just so I am aware, what you're saying then is that they should suppress their attraction to males. I'm sure it would be incredibly hard. God gives us challenges for a reason. So yeah, they should suppress the fact that they are gay. But like a straight man who walks into a gym and sees an attractive woman should just suppress his desire to try and have sex with that woman, but they don't need to suppress their heterosexuality. It's okay for them to have sex with women. But like, is it only okay to have sex with women if it's for the point of procreation? Like, it needs to be just so you can make a baby, as opposed to just enjoying it. That's just like debaucherous or whatever. No, no, no. I came at the wrong point. Over there's a double meaning to that sentence, Jerry Poppins. No kids. Well, you're obviously not a groper then, or potentially a groper. I'm trying to get that clarification. Sex within marriage is the only legit sex, but like even within marriage, can you have sex for pleasure, or is it just for procreation purposes? Ah, so because um, the argument would mean that pleasure is sinful in all aspects. Just happy fun time for happy fun time's sake. Yeah, well, I don't think that's potentially that's not a legitimate endeavor in the kind of the framework of a groiper. Yes, of course, sex is important in marriage. So, like, yes, if of course, what like you can have pleasurable sex in marriage. Is that what you're saying? Yes, of course, too. So, just to be abundantly clear, yes, go for it. Have sex for pleasure if you're married. Yes. Okay. Right. 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 Okay. I am married. And so, can I ask then, just moving with this train of logic, if gay marriage is legal, is it okay for gay people to have sex in wedlock? I care not for framework unless it's to enable a certain position. I hope you're talking about construction, Jerry Poppins. You crude man, you. Gay marriage is illegitimate. The church does not recognize this. You can ask the Pope or your local priest. And so, why is gay marriage illegitimate? Is it because, like, if it's recognized by the state, or like is marriage only between a man and a woman, or like for the point of having kids, right? Is that why marriage is important? And like when you say the church, like the Groypers are they Catholic then? Or they just believe in Christianity like generally? Is there a particular sect of Christianity that Groypers associate with? Would you like to know more? Most Groypers are Catholic. We do just point to the Catholic faith for all things married, like gay marriage. Okay. Interesting. Why are people making sexuality so complicated like it's a Cluedo game? He, she did it with Zem, Z, and the double-ended dragon dildo while wearing a furry suit in the safe feelings room. Dilemmas. Because marriage is a construct of Christianity, and the Bible clearly states that marriage is the union of a man and a woman. Interesting. Oh, you don't think there were marriages before Christianity? Like there weren't unions between people? I don't know about that. I think there have been unions in different social organizations with different types of religions and all that sort of stuff beyond Christianity. You know what? Let's fucking double check that. I'm gonna get my research assistant out. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Did marriage, the union of a man and a woman, exist before Christianity? Humans across many cultures and time periods developed forms of marriage or marriage-like unions, social, economic, reproductive purposes. Yeah, political purposes for sure, right? Eh? Ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, Jewish tradition, other cultures, Hindu traditions. There surely was, but Christianity is the most recent cultural appropriation of it. Marriage belongs to Jesus now, and it's been that way for about 2,000 years, baby. Fair enough. Fair enough. Don't know if I think that's the best interpretation of that, but I hear you. I hear you. All right, well, look, I have got to bounce, but like fucking again, I'm just continually thrown off with the depth that comes out of the after sessions. And it's all thanks to Groper Bro, I must admit. Like, don't get me wrong, you guys have all been very entertaining as well. Everyone that's been involved this afternoon. But like honestly, I've learned so much about Groper culture right now. And it's all thanks to Groper Bro. So Groper Bro, thanks for coming into the after session. Like I said before, I've given you the invite to the Discord if you're interested in like spreading your propaganda and talking to us more. Like, please do. But like to everyone else out there, yeah, thanks for hanging out this afternoon. Lab Jeff, like for the second part after I got fucking smashed before my OBS stopped working. But yeah, Indoctrinathan, thanks for your conversations today. Dilemmas, Jag, Jungle Potatoes. Who else has been here that I've missed out? Groper Bro, thanks for talking. Aglica, hope you've enjoyed the chat. It's been interesting this afternoon, Aglica. You came in at the right time. 4AS, you came in at the right time as well. It's been interesting. Reality Pixel, you know who you are, everybody. Thanks for joining in the chat. I do appreciate it. Jerry Poppins, how could I miss you? Yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you for the conversation. Gropers are far more nuanced than people give us credit. I joined the Discord. Well, like, so can you just give us like, I want a basic understanding. So if you could, drop like a starter's guide to Groper culture or like something like that, like something for us to understand. Let us, hit us up in the Discord, please. And and 6,000 years ago, God fathered a universe, or it was a big bang. It's just the end of the universe when monkeys discovered the power of the atom last time. Yeah, Jerry Poppins, you would love that brain, wouldn't you? But yes, thank you, everybody. It's been interesting. And I'm going to do some more troubleshooting because I'm worried about my laptop, to be honest, and OBS and stuff. So I'm going to have to let you know tomorrow if there's going to be a stream. I don't think... Yeah, I want to do some more testing. So Avalava as well. Thanks for keeping the stream chat down. It's been an interesting afternoon. And yeah, thank you everybody for your contributions. And until next time, please remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.